In the last few hours, hundreds of reports have poured in from Denmark and its neighbouring countries describing unidentified aerial phenomena that defy conventional explanation. What began as scattered witness accounts of unusual lights in the sky has now transformed into a storm of speculation, with photographs and videos flooding social media platforms and UFO investigation groups. Two images in particular, recently uploaded to Facebook communities dedicated to the study of unexplained aerial events, have drawn global attention. Many enthusiasts claim these are among the clearest photographs ever released in connection with this unfolding mystery. The images depict a massive, triangular-shaped craft with an array of glowing lights running along its underside. The structure is sharp, symmetrical, and far larger than any civilian drone or traditional aircraft. Its brilliance illuminates the night sky, standing out against the darker backdrop of clouds. Unlike the usual blurry photographs often associated with UFO sightings, these pictures appear unusually crisp, capturing the object in detail that has left viewers astonished. For those who have long sought clearer evidence, these images represent what many are calling a breakthrough in documenting this ongoing wave of sightings. As the events continue to escalate, accounts differ on what exactly is being seen above Denmark and beyond. Some witnesses describe glowing orbs darting across the sky, their movements rapid and unpredictable. Others speak of green lights glowing steadily in the darkness, creating eerie patterns above rural and urban areas alike. A number of observers insist they have seen large, dark objects hovering silently overhead, blending with the night until illuminated by their own radiant lights. This inconsistency in reports has created confusion, and as often occurs with such phenomena, conflicting details muddy the waters. Yet the sheer volume of reports suggests that something extraordinary is indeed occurring. The conversation surrounding these events is charged with speculation. Some suggest that the sightings may represent advanced aerial technology, either part of classified tests or foreign operations whose purpose remains hidden. Others lean toward the extraterrestrial explanation, pointing out that the triangular form and glowing lights have long been associated with UFO reports dating back decades. Still others warn that misinformation is already spreading deliberately, with contradictory descriptions, such as orbs, green lights, or dark triangular crafts, designed to sow doubt and prevent the public from reaching a clear conclusion. Photographs like the two now circulating online are rare in the world of UFO research. For years, the lack of detailed images has been a central point of skepticism, with critics dismissing blurry photos as misidentified planes, drones, or atmospheric effects. Yet these images challenge that narrative, offering a view that is difficult to dismiss outright. The sharp angles, symmetrical wings, and radiant clusters of light point to something far beyond the ordinary. The fact that they emerged during a sudden spike in regional reports only deepens the intrigue. Danish social media has exploded with conversation since the first wave of images surfaced. UFO researchers, aviation experts, and casual observers alike are debating the photographs with passion. Some insist that the images depict experimental drones of staggering size, possibly released as part of secret tests near the Baltic. Others argue that such a large, illuminated craft flying over populated areas without explanation is unprecedented and unlikely to go unnoticed by official channels. The silence from authorities has only fueled speculation, with many citizens wondering why no official statement has been issued despite the widespread sightings. Neighbouring countries are also contributing to the surge in reports. From southern Sweden to northern Germany, witnesses have described similar objects in the skies. The descriptions echo those of the Danish sightings: triangular forms, glowing orbs, and green lights hovering or moving with extraordinary speed. The cross-border nature of these events suggests that whatever is occurring is not localized but widespread, perhaps indicating coordinated activity or a phenomenon of significant scale. The historical context cannot be ignored. Northern Europe has long been a hotspot for UFO activity, with past reports of mysterious lights over the North Sea and unexplained radar contacts troubling both civilian and military operators. However, the current wave is unprecedented in its intensity and documentation. The volume of reports in such a short span of time, combined with the clarity of the photographs now circulating, has created an atmosphere of urgency. As with many such mysteries, skeptics are quick to argue alternative explanations. Some suggest that the sightings are misinterpretations of common drones, satellites, or even atmospheric reflections. Others posit that the glowing lights could be linked to natural phenomena, such as ball lightning or auroras, though the structured and mechanical shape visible in the images undermines these theories. What makes this case unique is that the reports are not isolated to a single group of observers, but are spread across multiple nations, cultures, and contexts, lending weight to the idea that something tangible is in the skies. For those convinced of a cover-up, the silence from official institutions is the most telling factor. The absence of acknowledgement or explanation is seen as deliberate, intended to keep the public uninformed while investigators behind the scenes collect data. Many believe that contradictory reports of orbs, green lights, and dark shapes may even be seeded to create confusion, ensuring that no single narrative gains traction. Such tactics have been noted in other historical UFO cases, where disinformation often followed widespread sightings. What remains clear is that Denmark and its neighbours are currently at the centre of one of the most significant UFO waves in recent memory. With photographs that seem too precise to dismiss, eyewitness accounts numbering in the hundreds, and speculation spreading at lightning speed across social media, the phenomenon shows no signs of fading. Whether these are secret military craft, advanced drones, or evidence of something otherworldly, the people of Denmark and beyond are left with more questions than answers. In the evening of the 22nd of September, the skies above northern Europe became the stage for one of the most unsettling and mysterious aerial incidents in recent memory. What began as isolated sightings of glowing green drones quickly escalated into the closure of two of the busiest airports in Scandinavia and stirred fears of deliberate attempts to disrupt critical infrastructure across the continent. The events that unfolded in Denmark, Norway, and surrounding regions left tens of thousands of travellers stranded, governments on high alert, and ordinary citizens wondering if Europe had entered a new chapter of aerial vulnerability. The first significant disruption was reported over Copenhagen, Denmark's capital city. On Monday evening, witnesses began reporting strange green lights in the sky near Copenhagen Airport. These lights were described as large glowing drones, far brighter and more visible than any recreational drone. Some observers claimed the objects hovered in the sky for over half an hour, while others stated they remained in the air for over an hour, showing no sign of conventional flight behavior. Their unusual endurance and persistent hovering left many convinced that these were not ordinary civilian drones. An unexpected voice from inside the aviation world has added a new layer of unease to the recent aerial incidents over European airports. An individual who identified himself as an airport employee stepped forward, saying he witnessed and participated in procedures that he now believes were intended to obscure the true nature of the objects seen above the runways. According to his account, what the public was shown on the news was not the full picture. Instead, routine airport drones were flown deliberately to distract attention from far stranger aerial activity. The insider explained that airports regularly operate their own unmanned aircraft for inspections, security sweeps, and training. These devices are outfitted with standard Federal Aviation Administration-style navigation lights and telemetry systems so that controllers, pilots, and air traffic control can identify them as compliant, benign aircraft. He claimed that on nights when unidentified objects appeared nearby, his workplace launched these familiar drones into the visible airspace to provide a plausible and easily explained explanation for witnesses and for radar operators. The effect, he said, was to give the impression of a conventional, manageable situation, a narrative that could be conveyed quickly to anxious passengers and the media. What troubled the insider most was his insistence that the objects observed by many witnesses did not match the profile of any conventional drone. He described the public sightings as lacking the usual blinking navigation lights and the telltale sound of propellers. He said some observers reported steady, intense glows and unmoving hover times that far exceeded the battery limits of typical commercial or even military small drones. In his view, the airport-launched drones served as a visual smokescreen, recognizable, regulated, and easy to explain, while the real phenomena continued unaddressed in the background. The airport employee went further, alleging that this practice was not a single ad hoc decision, but rather an established protocol designed to keep flights moving and to prevent public panic. He claimed that authorities coordinated the launches quickly, because an unexplained object near an active runway can trigger massive operational disruptions, but that the launches were often framed as the central response rather than a containment tactic. By presenting a conventional drone as the likely cause, he said, officials could downplay lingering questions about endurance, lighting, and flight behavior that, in his view, demanded a different kind of investigation. If the insider's account is accurate, it reframes how observers should read airport responses to aerial anomalies. Rather than assuming that visible drones are the objects that prompted closures, people might consider that visible drones could be a deliberate, visible intervention designed to reframe the story. The insider's testimony suggests an active effort to manage narratives as much as airspace, to substitute the known for the unknown in the public eye. Air traffic authorities took no chances. Sightings of 2 to 3 of these large, glowing drones in the airspace near Copenhagen Airport prompted officials to ground all takeoffs and landings. For nearly 4 hours, one of Europe's most vital air hubs was shut down. The closure left tens of thousands of passengers stranded, flights diverted or delayed, and cascading disruptions rippling throughout Europe's air network. Almost simultaneously, a similar incident unfolded in Norway. Oslo Airport was forced to close its airspace for 3 hours after an unidentified drone was spotted overhead. The similarities between the two incidents, the timing, the glowing green appearance of the drones, and the immediate danger posed to air safety, raised alarm bells across the region. For the first time in recent history, both Denmark and Norway had their busiest airports brought to a standstill on the same evening by mysterious objects in the sky. The implications of these events were not lost on officials. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen described the situation as the most serious attack yet on Denmark's critical infrastructure. She emphasized that the drone activity appeared designed to disrupt and create unrest, even if the specific origin remained unclear. Denmark, she explained, was not ruling out any possibilities in terms of responsibility. The Prime Minister's remarks highlighted the broader context in which these incidents occurred. In the months leading up to the September disruption, Europe had been dealing with a pattern of unusual aerial activity and cyber disruptions. Suspected Russian drones had been reported violating Polish and Romanian airspace. Estonia had confirmed that Russian fighter jets entered its airspace only days before the Copenhagen incident. At the same time, European airports had suffered a string of hacker attacks, further raising the sense that infrastructure was being targeted in coordinated ways. Against this backdrop, the sudden grounding of flights in Denmark and Norway appeared far from random. For ordinary citizens, the green glowing drones became symbols of unease. Many who saw them described them as hovering with unnatural steadiness, far removed from the jittery, short battery limitations of store-bought drones. Some even referred to them as unidentified aerial phenomena, pointing to their ability to linger in the sky for extended periods without the typical noise or flight patterns expected of drones. Residents living near Copenhagen Airport were particularly unnerved, with reports flooding in of luminous objects visible from backyards and streets, reminding many that these mysterious incursions were not confined to military airspace, but visible to everyday people. The closures of Copenhagen and Oslo airports also underscored the vulnerabilities of modern aviation. Airports represent some of the most tightly regulated and secure environments in the world, yet a handful of drones, unmanned and unidentified, were able to paralyze operations for hours. The economic and logistical consequences were immediate. Tens of thousands of passengers found themselves stranded in terminals or diverted to alternate airports. Airlines struggled to rebook passengers, and cargo shipments were delayed, highlighting how a few hours of disruption could ripple through global supply chains. For security experts, the incidents raised deeper questions. Were these drones the work of state actors probing weaknesses in European infrastructure, or were they a new breed of highly advanced, long-endurance drones operated by unknown groups? The glowing green lights in particular stood out, suggesting either specialized lighting equipment or technology beyond conventional commercial drones. Their endurance in the sky suggested that they were not the simple quadcopters available on the market, but something with greater power and design. European leaders were careful with their words. While Prime Minister Frederiksen refused to name specific suspects, she made it clear that the activity matched recent patterns observed across the continent. Norway's authorities also noted the seriousness of the threat, with officials warning that the drones could be a threat to national security. Denmark, on the other hand, reported 2 to 3 of these drones in the airspace near Copenhagen Airport. The closure of Copenhagen and Oslo airports prompted officials to ground all takeoffs and landings. For nearly 4 hours, one of Europe's most vital air hubs was shut down. The closure left tens of thousands of passengers stranded, flights diverted or delayed, and cascading disruptions rippling throughout Europe's air network. with Oslo's 3-hour shutdown demonstrating how quickly a single drone sighting could paralyze an entire airport. Neither country dismissed the events as hoaxes or misunderstandings, underscoring that the sightings were taken as credible and dangerous. At the human level, the events caused frustration, fear, and a sense of helplessness. Travelers trapped in Copenhagen airport during the 4-hour shutdown described watching the glowing objects through terminal windows, wondering what they were seeing and why no one seemed able to stop them. Families were separated, business trips derailed, and vacations upended. Yet, beneath the frustration lay something deeper: the realization that Europe's skies, once considered safe and orderly, could now be disrupted by unknown technology. For many, the incidents blurred the line between drones and UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. The glowing green color, the long hovering times, and the coordinated appearances over multiple capitals suggested something far stranger than ordinary drones. While officials used the word drone, ordinary people watching the skies could not help but feel that something more mysterious was unfolding. In the days that followed, European governments ramped up discussions about how to defend critical infrastructure against drone incursions. Anti-drone technologies, including radar systems, jammers, and even trained birds of prey, were mentioned as possible tools. Yet, the sheer scale of the incidents raised doubts about whether such measures would be enough. If drones could appear in the skies above multiple capitals simultaneously, glowing brightly enough to be seen across cities and hovering for hours, then the threat seemed far beyond the capabilities of amateur operators. The broader context of escalating geopolitical tensions only amplified these fears. With Europe already on edge due to conflicts, cyber attacks, and energy crises, the sudden swarms of glowing drones felt like yet another front in an expanding campaign of disruption. Prime Minister Fredriksson's warning that the events fit into a pattern of drone attacks, airspace violations, and cyber disruptions reflected the unease coursing through European governments. For the public, however, the fascination with the glowing green drones has persisted. Photographs and videos captured the eerie lights hanging over Copenhagen and Oslo, spreading quickly online. The images showed luminous orbs against the night sky, sometimes accompanied by smaller lights, adding to the sense of mystery. Residents described them as too large, too steady, and too enduring to be ordinary drones. The events of the 17th and 18th of September 2025 may one day be remembered as a turning point. For the first time, 2 of Scandinavia's busiest airports were shut down by unknown aerial vehicles. Tens of thousands of travelers experienced firsthand the fragility of modern aviation in the face of new aerial threats. Governments acknowledged the seriousness of the incursions, while leaving open the possibility that powerful state actors or unknown entities were involved. The glowing green drones over Europe remain unexplained. Whether advanced drones, experimental technology, or something stranger, their presence has already changed the way people think about the safety of the skies. The closures of Copenhagen and Oslo airports marked not just a temporary disruption, but a chilling reminder that in a world of rapidly advancing technology and growing tensions, even the most secure airspaces can no longer be taken for granted. As of now, Samantha's case continues to resonate across Europe as a symbol of mystery, vulnerability, and the unknown. Families, travelers, and officials alike are left with the same unsettling truth. Something powerful and unexplained was in the skies that night, and the answers remain just beyond reach.